technical difficulties if they arise, but I will wait to 8 o'clock to see if any of you are going to tune in live. So hi, I'm Bloody Mary in New Orleans. Bloody Mary New Orleans is my YouTube name, and we're going to have Voodoo Paranormal chat. So right now we're just getting it all started. I think it's just about up and running. So Voodoo Paranormal chat is about to begin. I was early to try to find any technical difficulties and iron them out. But so far, it looks like we're doing pretty good. So if you have any questions, please do remember to type them to me so I can answer them. And in the meantime, I will open the gates and I will talk about Voodoo Paranormal and also my book, Bloody Mary's Guide to Hauntings, Horrors, and Dancing with the Dead. So I'll take questions about the book, questions about New Orleans, or we'll just talk. And one of the questions that I constantly get, and that I got an email this week, was, what is it like to live in a haunted house? Well, we live in a haunted town, so a haunted house isn't far away from that. But yes, I do have a haunted house. I consider my ghosts to be my god family, and they live all around. There's hot cycles and cold cycles. Sometimes they're home, sometimes they're not, just like you or me. So definitely you have more activity sometimes than others. So basically things go missing, things move around on their own. There are bumps in the night. I do ghost hunts in my house as well as all through New Orleans. And I introduce small groups of people to the spirits that are here, and different ones are here at different times. So we are, let's see, talking about Voodoo Paranormal in New Orleans. I am Bloody Mary. I am Voodoo Queen. I run Bloody Mary's tours in Spirit Realm. I'm an author. I'm a psychic medium and a Voodoo Queen, as well as Voodoo Mambo, a sideway. I can baptize you, marry you, bury you, all the things that most priests or priestesses can do. And I have workshops and classes, as well as tours and private events, all which have teaching involved in fun and interactive ways. So there are so many different things that we have in New Orleans to explore. Voodoo Paranormal. Now, New Orleans has been called America's most haunted city for decades, more than decades, way before paranormal became as crazy popular as it is today. So we are in a very haunted city, and I grew up just assuming those things were natural. I saw things since a child, and stories were all around, and every time you asked somebody, they had a story, or they knew somebody that had a story about a person, place, or thing. And I did listen. And when I didn't get the right answers, I kept questioning and questioning and questioning till I found the right ones. So you might say I'm a researchaholic, and I call it Voodoo Paranormal because voodoo actually translates to mean spirit, spirit force, God. It is a spirit. It was also a religion that came over with the slave trade to New Orleans, and because of the different rules here for the slaves, it was allowed to take root. There was a little bit more freedoms here than in much of the rest of the country. So voodoo grew alongside of the colony. So voodoo also has its definition, but voodoo has its roots in New Orleans too, both of which made me fall towards voodoo, or voodoo kept knocking on the door here, just as the spirits did since I was small. So paranormal is beyond the normal, and voodoo means spirit. So I mix old school, which is a voodoo shamanism, with new school, some of the modern methods. Someone says here they were part of the spirit cruise. They just did very, how you doing? I'm glad you thought it was awesome. We had a lot of people that night. Some things popped up in the house for a lot of people, as well as I think in the graveyard, and we went all around. How was the cruise? I suppose, let's see, they got a copy of my book and thought it was great. Have you any questions specifically about the book? And then I can, you know, I don't know, or comments, favorite things, hated things, and then I'll gladly answer those questions while we're here or try to elaborate on it. I said, I'm born and raised in New Orleans. My family's been here since 1718. And my old joke used to be that I was related to half the ghosts. But as time went on and I researched deeper and deeper, I found that I was. So there's lots of spirits here. And They chose me for this house when I was in need of a new place. The spirits actually called me here, and more popped up as time went on. Some of my work I took home with me. So there were some hitchhikers that came that ended up not being able to live here. You know, you could have a lot of spirits, but you can't live with all your friends either. You go crazy, right? So the ones that were here, I believe, have spirit rights. They built the house. They lived here before. We learned to get along, set boundaries, renegotiate, entertain each other if we can. It's like some roommates you get along with better than others. It's kind of the same thing. And sometimes they're more active than others, just like sometimes I'm more active than others, you know. So I live with a house of spirits, and I live in a town with spirits. We're a port town on the physical plane, and we're a portal on the spiritual plane. Oh, someone wanted to know where we are. Well, we're in my house. We are in my main temple room. You can see in the back of me some of my haunted dolls, and that's my swamp magic altar right over there, and more of a New Orleans voodoo altar, which has swamp magic as its base. And you can't quite see, but Ray LeBeau's up at the top. There's all kinds of altars. See, over my shoulder behind the center post is the ancestral altar, and then to my left over here is my Congo, more fiery altar, and my Rada altar, and I'm in the center of it all. This is for connection, protection, and to honor the spirits. Voodoo's a dance religion and a musical religion, and I have a family tradition that incorporates many different things. I have a larger altar space downstairs and a whole backyard for bigger rituals as well. When I call the spirits or have the spirits, I formally invite them in. We feed them or give them rum and dance, sing, play the drums for them. We do many things. I think I have a question. I have a question. Was interested in the integration of Catholic symbols and ideas into voodoo. Can you explain a little? Sure. The Latin Catholic areas that met the slave trade would have more or less forcibly Catholicized the slaves. Therefore, they were introduced to the saints, the symbols, and a variety of things. Many of them were very similar to what they already had. The cross, whether it be the X cross, more used in voodoo, or the more traditional cross, both were already used as part of their symbol signatures, sacred symbols and things. So that was very easy. They had many different intermediary spirits who were just called the voodoos with a little v in Africa. And it was called the voodoos or the mysteries, or looked at as the voodoo saints. And they're kind of in families. If this particular assistant in the spirit world was for, you know, one particular thing, and then they met and were taught about a saint who was good to help you for this particular thing, well, those kind of married and merged together. Then they could both honor the saint and their spirit at the same time and give a physical embodiment to the spirit of their own home. And a lot of people will just whittle that down to, oh, they were hiding what they were doing behind Catholicism. But that would have worked here. Not in New Orleans, when there was really no need to hide anything. People were dancing in the churchyard and a few blocks away at Congo Square, worshiping the spirits, grabbing snakes out. I mean, what was to hide? They went to church. They went to church on Sunday. And then after that, they did their voodoo rituals in Congo Square, at the edge of the river, perhaps in their backyard. Catholics were never against dancing or music. So that was another reason why in the Catholic areas, voodoo grew a little bit more openly. Whether that was Cuba, whether it was New Orleans, whether that was Brazil, most of the Caribbean and beyond, and Haiti and all. You had a Catholic influence, which was open, and also music developed that because of that too. The different polyrhythmic beats of the drum mixed in with that. So you have you have voodoo affecting Catholicism too, as well as Catholicism affecting voodoo. And here, I guess you have that having a lot to do with our lovely voodoo queen, Bloody Mary. No, damn it, that's me. The lovely voodoo queen, Marie Laveau. She was a devout Catholic. She was a yellow fever nurse that worked with the church. So you have all of these things blending. They love the paraded costumery of the Catholic Church. They used incense and candles. So there were already things that were in use. So there was a familiarity of sorts that they felt a camaraderie with and just continued to use. They love the novenas, praying and focusing and using the candles to focus on a particular need for so many days. 9 is a number of completion and used in a lot of voodoo rituals, ceremonies, spells, if you will. So there was similarities. Both have one God. Both have the intermediary spirits that got your needs met through the help of God. Both had a heavy use of ritual. ceremony. So all that blended, and it worked here. And it worked in most Latin Catholic areas. Let me see if there was another. There's a couple of questions. I love the history that you wrote about in the book and the wonderful descriptions of your personal experiences. I had so much more history that they made me take out. In fact, that book was 3 times as long. It was going to be, and it still probably will be, a 3-part series. But yeah, they had me take out a lot of history. I still managed to keep some in, but I took out so much. There's so much history here. There was an amazing energy in my home when we visited on the tour. Thank you. That was a good week. I remember y'all had good energy. You know, it has a lot to do with the people that you're with. You can go in the same place that's supposedly all haunted, walk with one person at your side and nothing happens, walk right back in a half hour later and boom. Maybe it's the energy between the two of you. Maybe it's the person that you're with, what they're wearing, what they look like. If their bloodline connected to anyone that had anything to do with the area or the place, sometimes it's, I had one spirit that just loved full sleeves of tattoos. That was going to be enough for the person to make him wake up. There's triggers, and it has a lot to do with the people that you bring. And the people on this spirit cruise that were here, they were all into it. They were all high energy. And everybody was looking for things in a different way. So I really think that made the spirits happy. And I'm very old school with, I introduce people to the spirits. I put out food or liquor or whatever the case may be. So I have a little different approach than a lot of other places. Let's see. I love the history you wrote about. I got that. I'm sorry that I cannot make this work. All right. Sorry. I was also interested in your discussion of the changing landscape of New Orleans with all the new people moving in the area in your book, such as the big controversy over the X's on the graves. It's so interesting. I mean, most of the people that were out there, I don't believe that you have to desecrate something in order to keep a tradition alive. I have never promoted that. I've never let my people take out paints and oils and things that could destroy a tomb. There was a tradition, which was brick dust, and brick dust is chalk, and chalk washes away in the rain. People were starting to pass a rumor that it was all made up like in the 80s or something, but my great-great-grandma knew about it. My great-grandma knew about the X's. They're ancient voodoo crosses and cosmograms. People were trying to keep the tomb clean, so they thought they'd say, oh, this was made up to discourage people from wanting to do it. So they wouldn't do it other than the tour, and they'd come back with anything out of their purse and scratch on it or mark it up with an indelible marker. I believe if you teach people correctly, they'll want to do it correctly, especially if it's something mystical and spiritual. People are paranoid about doing any little tiny step wrong and calling over everything I try to tell them to do when I'm giving them a working or a prayer to do at home. So they would not want to do it wrong. They would want to do it right. So prohibition, total and out prohibition, has never really worked. You tell somebody not to do it, they're going to come back later and they're going to do it even more destructively. So I believe in educating correctly, and I was one of the last few on that. But you know, anybody that had a grandma here, a great grandma here, knew about the X's. This wasn't something made up by tourism. Tourism wasn't always here. We weren't a big tourist destination in the 1970s, barely in the 80s. You know, things changed over the years. So the X's are ancient voodoo crosses that people not only here, but in other areas where the African diaspora was a contact point between the spirit world and the physical. They were sometimes made on tombs or in sacred areas in order to call the spirits forward. Now, I can make the X's in the air, which is now, you know, you can't write on the tomb. You can't bring offerings, which is extremely sad. For New Orleans fed her spirits and decorated her tombs brilliantly. You can on maybe your family tombs, but no longer at Marie Laveau. There was a saddening with the spirits for that for quite a while. It seems to have balanced out a bit now. But I have my own Marie Laveau shrine in my home. There's shrines at the Voodoo Museum and Marie Laveau's House of Voodoo store and Sally Ann Glassman's shrine that she has inside the Healing Center. There are many private altars all over the country, actually, even all around the world, to Marie Laveau. But her tomb was a place where people came, and she's a folk saint. She continues to heal. There are many documented cases of miracles at her tomb because she still works in her afterlife. And if X's were the way to go, you can find X's graffitied in many Christian areas, Catholic areas in Europe, for it's an old symbol, not just in voodoo. So I think that there might have been a little bit of embarrassment, you know, on the part of the Catholic Church for the most the one who got the most attention in the graveyard was a voodoo woman, but she was also a devout Catholic, and they had no problem in life with, conflict between the two. She worked with the church. She was a devout Catholic, and she went to mass every day, or so they say. So I think that they got just a little out of hand with worrying about the exes. There are many other problems in the cemeteries, and her tomb was not the worst one. I mean, it had got just a little bit of destruction of a piece of plaster on the side, small section. There's some that are leaning like this, broken open into the streets. Marie Laveau's was a very sturdy tomb. Somebody broke in one on I think a New Year's Eve time, year before last, and painted her tomb pink. Well, that caused the Catholic Church to clean it off, pressure washed it. It knocked off a little plaster, and then the people at one of the cemetery restoration places got all upset, and they tried to restore it, which took $10,000, of which I gave quite a lot, $10,000 to restore it. And so now it's like really protected, and people at the gates, and insurance to bring people in, and I don't know. We're protecting it in one way, but it seems to even bring more people. It's kind of confusing. But Marie Laveau and the exes were a real tradition, and it was only in the past, really, maybe just a tiny bit before Katrina that they started to say that it was not. Let's see. I was interested. Thank you so much for explaining that. I was raised Catholic, and I still feel very connected to it, but also connected to many ideas in traditional witchcraft. So the combination of the two interests me. I think there's a lot of crossover between the two. Well, you have, Catholicism taking over in many areas in Europe. Many of the sacred sites where the, god and goddess sacred sites had been before. So many of the churches were actually built on top of them. Some of the rituals and holy days that were already popular in an area were adopted by the Catholic Church, given as saints' days for other people. Some of the gods and goddesses became saints. So you'll have them in great denial about that, but that's pretty well known. The Catholic rituals would have learned from previous rituals. They're very ceremonial, going to north, east, south, and west, and, addressing the cardinal corners, opening the ceremony, closing a ceremony, calling the spirits and saying thank you and sending it back. That's the same kind of thing I do in Voodoo Paranormal. I was born and raised Catholic. My mama, she was a St. Joseph nun before she married my dad. So I was very Catholic. In fact, I just broke down my St. Joseph altar just a few days ago because we celebrate that here once a year in March. And he's a protector of the home and such, and the family. So, there is a lot of more connection, I suppose, maybe in voodoo than in witchcraft per se, in Catholicism, except for the sites in Europe. So the European witchcraft was preserved through many of the holy days, and you can see that. And the novena is very much a mystical tradition, praying 9 days, focusing, directing the energy, using the light of the candle to send forth the speed of light, your message and beyond. Praying, and I think growing up Catholic, 1, teaches you ceremony, 2, teaches you how to pray. A lot of people don't know how to pray out there, how to focus, how to direct, and it does also teach you how to respect the ancestors and the spirits. With All Saints Day and All Souls Day and all those things around, we fed the dead, we visited the dead, we helped them get out of purgatory. The people had a direct role with the spirits. So all of that, if I called it Catholic Paranormal, they'd never like it. But Voodoo Paranormal works too. Again, it's because Voodoo is also a shamanic type of a religion, like Native American Indian shamanism, and it's dance, and it's earth-based, and ancestral reverent. So all of those things mixed together in New Orleans Voodoo, in what I do and in what I teach and show when people come to town, because we have a lot of haunted spots here. We have, not just the cemeteries that people go to, but the houses, the bars. We have haunted bars. Spirits love spirits, I always say. So they definitely would appreciate a little bit of a drink. Let's see. Thank you for answering that. I completely agree. That's a person who was talking about being raised Catholic. Yeah, we all have religions that we're brought up with, and me, a lot of us had been considered lapsed Catholics. Maybe we don't go to church as often as we used to and things, so we call ourselves lapsed Catholics. I actually got more respect for Catholicism after I became voodoo than when I was a kid and when it was kind of shoved at me. So I got a new respect for it through voodoo and through the eyes of voodoo than I did just growing up and going to Catholic schools and all the lovely things that go around with being Catholic. But the spirit world was never a problem when I was a kid. When I was taught about saint stories, they always had apparitions and they always saw things. So the first things that I saw, I thought were, saints or holy spirits or whatnot. And some of them later became not so holy. But at first, it was just different apparitions that were here and there. So yes, the spirit world is ever present in voodoo. So there's one God, intermediary spirits, the ancestors, and all of us. The ancestors are still there to guide you, maybe to trip you up if they're trying to teach you a lesson, but they're to guide you. You need to respect your near ancestors in life, your family, your parents and grandparents, and they will still be around you in afterlife. There is daily contact with the spirits, the intermediate spirits like the saints or what they call the loas or mysteries in voodoo. You call upon them for help. You sing and feed them and take care of them. It's mutual. So I believe all that is, somebody said hi. All I remember, and I remember experiencing the ghost dogs in the cemetery, animals, and going to see the oak trees. Now all of a sudden there's everything written in a way. There's a lot of crossover between the two, yes. Ghost animals, let me tell you, and those of you that know me have heard this before. I have a ghost dog in the house, Butch. I don't know if he's around, but I had tons of ghost animals here after Katrina. So many animals died in Katrina. And I kind of became the ASPCA of the spirit world with the animals. There were no ghost people here for a long time. We were a ghost town of a different variety. Many of them disappeared. I believe they evacuated with the families. But some of the animals, so many died so quick. The animals, they were everywhere. And in my house I had ghost dogs, ghost frogs, ghost cats. I had neighbors that would comment, I didn't know you got a white German Shepherd. I didn't know you got a Persian cat. My mother would say something if she visited. My husband, my son, we all heard, smelt, felt, all of the above through the night. It didn't take long to help them get where they had to go, but it was really sad. In general, though, you will see the occasional ghost dog, ghost cat, a ghost horse sometimes in the French Quarter because they used to pull up to the places. So the ghost animals are definitely around, ghost pets, ghost animals, wild animals we encounter in the forest as well. So yes, there's ghost dogs in many different cemeteries around here that I have noticed. So yes, there were ghost dogs. And also we have the spirits that are in the trees, whether they're the nature spirits, whether they are just all the different swamp energy spirits that we have around here. New Orleans' root is swamp magic. I mean, we are a swamp at heart. We may look like a city of cement now, but it's not far underneath it. The water still flows. 80% of New Orleans was a swamp. 80% of New Orleans is a swamp. It's just underneath it all there. The energies are still underneath and moving with the spirit. So our mother, the Mississippi, Mama You, she has long tendrils and finger legs all through the city. And she's all around us. So that has to do with the fluidity of our spirits as well. And then our forests, our beautiful oak forest. We have the largest oak forest in the world here. And I'm very much connected with the lovely trees. Many spirits of the trees, many spirits are in the trees that lived around it. They all have stories to tell and different personalities. So when you think of New Orleans, you think of Bourbon Street and drinking, and the spirits are there too, but it's also in the waters, in the bayous, in the swamps, in the park. It's everywhere. So you just have to be open to it. Very conservative and mundane people that come to town. Sure. Many mundane people that come to town will just be confused and look around. It's like, I don't know what it is about New Orleans, but there's something. There's something about New Orleans that I can't, pinpoint it, but I feel like I've been here or I'm going to move here. And they do. The fact that it's a port town. And so many of your ancestors have definitely made their way through here before. Might be one reason why you're picking up on it differently than you do in other areas. but a lot of them keep coming back because we're not only a port, we're a portal. I had a request to show Henriette. So hang on, Henriette. 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 Henriette is very old and very wise. See, there's no suture marks left in her skull. Henriette, she is from France. She is from Paris, the catacombs, in fact. I was on a trip to Paris and all through Europe on a whole paranormal explore and supernatural explore about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. I'm not sure, 5 years ago. And I had just left the original tomb of our torturous Madame Laurie in France, and I was going to the Moulin Rouge, but we were lost. I kept walking about and walking about, and I kept passing this store because obviously we were walking in circles. So I went in there to ask directions. I went to the man and I was going to ask, and all of a sudden I heard over my shoulder, I always wanted to go to America. And I kind of turned around, but the only thing over my shoulder was her. She was in a window and kind of partially covered with a little bit of a cloth. And so now my question is the skull for sale? And he goes, oh, I have another one here. I said, no, is she for sale? And he said, yeah. And he took her out the window, and I said, can I feel her? She felt nice and good. And I said, can I take her back? He looks at me funny. I was like, to America? Can I take her back? He's looking at me funny. Like, customs? Can I take her back? And he's like, I'm not an endangered species. So I laughed and I said, look, shipper, I'm going to other countries. The last thing I need is to be pulled over at every border. So she made home before me, and she caused quite a ruckus to my co-priestess Gina, who was also my house sitter at the time, making noise in the kitchen like it was falling apart, like the ceiling had caved in and everything was thrown around. She didn't know that I had sent her, and this poor skull was sitting in a box for a long time before I got back home, and she wanted out of the box. So this would be Henriette. She is Henriette. Henri. She is a healer. She is helpful. She is very wise. The whole concept of the skull and wisdom is wisdom of the ancestors who've come before. And she was a fossil, they say, from the catacombs in France. I have her paperwork. And she was nearly 100 when she died too. And so she is an acquired spirit. My house came with spirits. I took some of my work home with me, and I have a haunted collection as well. And that would be Miss Henriette. She's very, very sweet. Let's see, can you show us Henriette? Yes, I did that. We have here, what is the significance of water with the spirit world? In Hinduism, still water, standing water is considered bad. What is the belief in voodoo? Well, our water is always moving. We don't know. Stagnant water is not good for many reasons, because it has germs and it has lots of other things. We always try to put water up. And speaking of water, I will have a water break. Water on our altars. Water is a conduit for the spirits. The whole concept of the crystal ball and everything is from the scrying in water. So I do a lot of scrying in water and have water there when I do readings and healings. I hope to have you breathe into the water so it kind of opens your spirits up and it lets them flow through. So the whole concept of water is flowing, and there's no, I guess there's some standing water here and there, but most of the water in New Orleans is definitely moving. Underneath us, it's still all connected and changes with the tides. Now, there are some people that always said, you know, after Katrina, oh, well, water's supposed to be cleansing. Why wasn't that good that the town was flooded? That was not pretty water. That was standing water. That was poisonous water with gasoline and sewage and poison and muck. I mean, it was not a good thing. But moving water, the rivers, the streams, the oceans, they are spirits in themselves. And we are, you know, swamp water here, but it's all moving. We are the river. We are the swamp. So it's a good thing. And waters and spirits move through water. That's in most different cultures. Water is in that way. So there's spirits of the water. There's Las Arenas, is it called in Haitian voodoo? Well, Mama, you here, she's like Mammy Waters, a mermaid kind of energy. She was called upon long before colonialization here through many of the Native American Indian tribes, and she's the true mother who I serve quite well here. And then through Le Grand Crocodile and Le Grand Zombie, we kind of all merge, mend one, transport spirits to get us back and forth. New Orleans is a city that has many faces, many sides. It's very easy to step between the worlds here. It's constant. So this is a very mystical city, and a lot of people connect with that way, and they don't even know what they're feeling. Can you tell us about any experiences you had with magic or ancestors in the swamps as a child? Oh, the Gator and I were a love-hate relationship as a child. I would sit at my grandpa's camp at the edge of the waters and call the Gator as well as get ready to run all at the same time. And even snakes. I love snakes now and I love gators. And I kind of had that love-hate, like a little bit of a fear as a child, but as much wanting to know them. So I get as close as I could. And I loved the water. So I kind of felt I was a mermaid when I was a child, and I would love swimming in the bayous and swimming in anywhere swimming. But, we also did the lake and the bayous, and just floating out there. Meditating in water is the best thing for me. Still, even if it's just a bathtub. For me, that conduit is so very important. Sitting still and going on will not work for me. Dancing or in water will work for me. And I'm just... that would probably be my earliest knowledge, thinking I really was a mermaid. And, I am. That's one of my main spirits. I also had but a couple of particular fairy type beings that were around me as a young child, protecting me in many cases. And this didn't seem like any kind of typical imaginary friend. I mean, she was there. She pointed out things. She told me which way to go. I had different apparitions all the time, some that seemed very holy that were by the sides of my bed and bringing me to certain areas, but the forest, the swamp, seeing the feu follet, the glowing ball of light, and the will-o'-wisp, seeing all that always intrigued me deep into the forest, into the swamps. So that was kind of my mystical, magical thing, the waters and the swamps. Let's see. Okay, hold on. Can you tell us about any experience? Oh, we have that. One wants to see one of my snakes. If I can get her out of her cage. I got this bigger cage. It's really a bitch to get my arm down there, but I will try. I have two snakes. I have one downstairs and one up here. I have the male up here, Dani. Dani is all the white spirits. Dani Blanc up here. And then I have the female downstairs. Someone agrees with me about water. I've always said the sense that it's very healing, but it's also a conduit to move spirit through. You really do use the water quite heavily. And I'll see if the snake will pop up. By the way, pardon me, I'm dressed down tonight. Let's see. Come on out. She's way down there. When he gets up high, I'll grab him. He's a white corn snake, albino. Had him about 8 or 9 years. Got him after Katrina. He's very sweet. He loves. Is there a significance to the snake? Oh, yes, in voodoo, absolutely. The snake is, many spirits are the snake. Okay. Dambala, Aida, Wido, the names that I just gave for those snakes that I was telling you about, are the male and female kind of protectors. It's in voodoo. Their symbol is the egg, the cosmic egg, and they are very life-giving. But we have Le Grand Zombie also shown as a snake. This is a more ancestral snake and of the Congo origin. Some saying the same root word as Simbi or even zombie, like the zombie you see on TV. But that one would have been a more all-encompassing type of spirit. The Grand Zombie was a great ancestral god, and that was called upon a lot in New Orleans voodoo by Marie Laveau and before in her time. But there are many, many spirits that have the symbol as a snake, which are generally always positive, not negative snakes. So the snake constantly sheds its skin, starts anew, shedding and recycling in life and turning things over. It walks between the worlds with its sight, and we still retain the dance of the snake in New Orleans voodoo. We are at the mouth of the largest snake there is, again, back to the Mississippi, as she serpentines through the area. So he's hungry. Let's see if I can get you up here. So the snake is very positive in voodoo. Come on up, Dunny. Come on up. He's way down there. But she's an albino corn snake. Very skinny, pretty long, but skinny. And she sheds a lot. Come on up, eat, boy. I've got a very tall case now, and it used to be shorter, easier to grab in and out of. But he's a sweet snake, and he does a lot of weddings with me, a lot of rituals, a lot of healing. So if I put him around me, think of the Oracle at Delphi, that the snake is like a conduit that comes with the messages through. So what do we got here? What does it say? I have always had snake dreams whenever something is happening. Do I have some connection to it? Is it my spirit animal, and should I get one too? Well, I do believe that you should work with snake energies. If the snake symbol is coming to you more than others, more than likely it would be a totem. If they're coming to you in life physically, if they're at your door or out of place in places, then definitely. Snake symbolism has so many layers of meanings, but definitely healing, definitely prophetic, definitely spiritual. And I think very positive. But if you're in a major change of your life, the whole concept of shedding your skin and starting anew, snake is a really good conduit for that. You have to not only know your totem animal, you must know its prey. To understand how you work and how you work in the world when things come up towards you, for you, or against you. So learn both the information about your totem animal and its prey, because you're both. Flip side of the coin, so to speak. Can you tell us about the amazing sculpture in your living room with the bottles? Amazing sculpture. Oh, you're talking about my bottle, my chandelier, my bottle tree? Well, I had a beautiful, oh God, I went so out of the way to make my bottle tree outside in the trees like you're supposed to. I had beautiful fishing wire and different size and colors and shapes of bottles on different edges. Oh my God, the worst thing in the world to have to do when you're trying to rush out of town to evacuate for a hurricane is to get up on the tree and take down all those bottles. It takes an extra 8 hours. I was like, uh-oh, can't have that anymore. And it was so pretty. But the winds would have smashed it and destroyed it and, you know, become projectiles. I'm going to see if there's some way I can tilt my screen here without destroying everything and show you my bottle tray. Let's see if I can do that. There you go. Here, I might turn it down so you can see it a little better. Is that better? So upside down, the bottles all have their herbs. They all had things inside them. Blue bottles, red bottles, clear bottles, all sizes, all shapes on a chandelier. The bottle tree was sometimes made to stop any evil spirits when you had them outside from coming to your house. But they were also to protect and honor the ancestors. I have an iron base, so I have the protection of Gu, or Ogun, the blacksmith Loa in voodoo up there with the glass. So I have a combination as this is set like a crown on top. My tree, my center post. This is Allison. Spirits enter and exit through that. This is the center altar. So this is all connected. It's connected through the attic and through the roof and down through the basement into the ground. And it is all one. Put the So that was my bottle tree inside, because outside became such a problem. Oh, I was so upset too. It was really hard to get all that fishing wire at all different angles to have all the beautiful trees hanging. It was really difficult. But it was a real pain in the ass to have to take that down before you left town, even when you didn't want to leave town for an evacuation. So now I have indoor bottle trees and a little one outside that I could easily pick up and run and hide with on metal bases. Iron is for Ogun. Ogun is the blacksmith Loa, the warrior, the protector, color red. So I have an iron base and I have the bottle trees up there. Each of them was rimmed with different let's say, herb or oil, and they're for protection as well as ancestral reverence. The older ones were for the ancestors. The ones that we heard of here in the South were for made of haint blue. The blue glass was to ward off evil spirits and to stop them. And it says here, I always see the deer in meditation and the fox and wonder if there's any significance in voodoo. Well, animals that were in the particular area always have significance, and animal totems are very important. I don't know how many deer were in Africa or in Haiti, but they had many, obviously, different animals there that I have all over here. Contrary to what is politically correct, I have a wolf fur, but I also adopted wolves and take care of them too. So I have wolf, and I have lion, I have tiger, I have teeth, I have the gator, because that's my main totem that I wear and carry. The deer is very sacred to most areas of Native American, as is the buffalo. The deer is very, very connected. They say that he is one that knows the ley lines, because it is the hoofs that would run upon them and the antlers that connect you as above into the earth, the conduit back and forth. So the deer is very, very sacred to many different cultures. I have deer fur, deer hoofs that I use, to extend powers and connect with. So I do work with the deer quite a lot. The fox, I have a little bit of fox around here as well, and my friend runs Foxwood Temple. He's very big into the fox, but yes, you have look up again, both the animal and its prey. You must understand both aspects to work with your totem animal the best. I suggest getting a piece of the animal, whether it's a tooth, whether it's a piece of fur, and you don't have to have killed the animal in order to get the hair. You can just get hair, or a tooth from a store and still work with them that way. You can work with pictures and in your dreams, but hold on, let's see. I always see the deer and meditate. So yeah, definitely, I find it extremely urgent to understand and work with your animal totems. And they will change and they will evolve as time goes on in situations that you encounter too. You would also have like a totem bug and a variety of other things that you can work with too. And they'll come to you to teach. So listen, Battle Tree is awesome. Oh wow, blah blah blah. It's beautiful. Thank you. I'm a bit confused on how to dress the voodoo doll. This is something, meaning how to use it for healing body pain like backache, mental strength and strong clear up. Yeah, I had written online for how to work the dolls and things, but yes, if there's particular problem in your body, the base root of the herb that would be in the pill that's these days goes out. You could actually apply in an oil form or an herb form to the part of the body with a pin for focusing or a thorn in order to put it into the particular area to focus and direct energy and healing, like acupuncture, not like Hollywood in the dolls. So the doll is your surrogate. It's a surrogate of you or whoever it's supposed to be. Therefore, what's wrong with you, you can heal and anoint through the doll. You could put some birch bark around the head for your headache. You could put different things in different areas. And so you could work with the doll. Do we stick certain kinds of herbs over the area? Yes. If you put jewelry, whatever you add onto your doll, you add on with a purpose. Every knot that you make is a wish, is a prayer, everything that you add on. So if you add on jewelry, something shiny and bling-like, well, that's to attract something to you, right? Like bling, shiny, I'm worth paying attention to. Say you have that. If you are putting a mirror, that's to reflect away negativity. If you're adding something herbal, just give it and task each section of it when you use it to increase the potency of the healing of the doll, of the direction of the energy. So everything that you do, and keep it up high because your dog will eat it, by the way, or cat. The gree-gree and voodoo dolls should be kept away from anybody's reach in plain view. But in plain view, right? Well, not necessarily. You could keep it in plain view if you have an altar. You can keep it hidden away if you want. I say keep it in plain view so that you will see it. So that if you don't sit there and pray and meditate on it, just by you seeing it walking by, your mind's eye remembers what went into it, what it's there for, how empowered you are, and it's connecting with you. If you don't want anybody to know that you're working with a voodoo doll, you could put it somewhere, but when you do need to take it out to at least focus, meditate, and feed it once a week or once a month or whatever the case may be, to activate the relationship with it, to keep it doing. Again, it's a surrogate. A gree bag, got one down here somewhere. A gree bag is kind of like a spirit pouch, and it too must be fed. So you pour a little oil, a little perfume, a little, food, whatever it is, into it and carry it, sleep with it under your pillow, and you develop a relationship and connection back and forth with it. So the gree is from an African word. It's like a wish pouch. It's a spirit pouch. Animal, vegetable, mineral matter that is blessed, connected, married, pushed together, and awakened. So that it's conjured, so that the spirit, hold on, there's some noise from the altar. What's that noise? Spirit's making noise, but I don't know who's making noise over there. There is no dog. There is no cat. Not my live ones in here. That's what I thought was making the noise. We're not alone. The spirits, there's some spirits in those dolls over there. And the snake, did he ever make his way up? No, still down there. Sorry, Chandri. But you have the gree bag is to carry. This is your spirit ally, and you develop a relationship with it. The doll is your surrogate if it's you. Now, it could also be a doll that's a protector spirit. And, here I've added a little key. I've added a piece of copper. I've added some herbs. I'm going to give him a headdress. I'm going to give him a cape. And I'm going to give purposes for all those things. So it's a work in progress. I said keep it up away from animals, because animals will eat it. And it doesn't have to be to plain view for anybody, because it's not necessarily anybody else's business. But there's nothing wrong with having it in plain view. I say up high so that, of course, it won't it won't get eaten or broken. I see certain number sequences again and again. Is it some spiritual communication? Oh, absolutely. Spirits can communicate through numbers. There are some people, and I'm not one of them, that generally gets numbers for gambling. And I don't think they should have to go gamble off every one of them, but you can try it. Yes, numbers can be very spiritually meaningful. I used to get tons of stuff in numbers, though I'm not a numerologist. And I used to go, okay, why? Why are you giving me everything in numbers? Some of them made sense, and I have a strong lucky number type of thing. But yeah, different spirits just communicate in different ways. Some through visuals, some through songs, some through numbers, some through apparitions. There's just a lot of things. You should definitely, everyone should keep some form of, if you want to call it a dream journal, or if you want to, just some kind of active mystic diary, so that you write down the significant dreams. So you write down the significant symbols that you're getting. And the ones that are coming over and over, obviously more meaning to you. So you should definitely write about that. Let's see. How about gree-grees for kids? Can I put them in their school bag? I wouldn't. They'll probably lose them. And not that they are, if they find them, they're going to open them. If you open them, they're totally destroyed. It's about the wrapping. It's about the spirit that's in them. And when a doll or a gree bag is opened, cut, torn, tainted, it is inactive. You don't just throw it away. Never throw it away. You disassemble it. You scatter it back out to the earth or to the waters. You thank it for holding and helping you, and you release it back to the universe. So, you're kind of probably asking for trouble if, depending on how old the kid is, if they're going to be able to get at it and show all their friends, and, nobody plays with it and pulls it apart, or what's in here. Oh, I wonder if I should eat it. Who knows? It could be a choking hazard. There's nothing poisonous inside there. But, again, its activity is in the combination, the conjuring, and the marrying of the ingredients to create the spirit that is developed as you're walking with it and feeding. So if there's a pocket that the kid can't get to, if you're sure your kid's not going to be going and showing everybody, I don't know. I think you're probably better at just keeping it in their pillow when they go to sleep, and, having it kind of linger as a protection that way, just so the kids don't get a hold of it and rip it apart. Let's see. Let's see if my number's going through. I do later that day. Something about numbers with an oracle. If I have a question in my head, I get the number within an hour. Well, if it makes sense to you why you get numbers, I mean, everybody has to develop their own way of conversation with spirit. I do not believe that there is a book out there that says, oh, these are dream symbols, and that's what they mean. Because, and even people that swear by the colors that are said to be for this or for that, and that is also extremely personal. There's some generic wisdom in that, but you really have to go more personal. Because if I was brought up in a house that was blue and it was a negative experience, then blue isn't going to be my tranquil color like everybody else says it is. Spirits will continue to give you information, whether it's through dreams or through direct contact with other people that pass the messages that they want along. You can still have contact with the spirits today. So you pay attention to what they're saying, unless they're saying something bad, but you know, to guide you along. And people want to know, oh, how do I know, you know, I'm getting good information? How do I know if it's a good spirit or a bad spirit? Same way you do with people when you meet them. It's by the gut. You go by the intuition. You can ask certain questions to try to do your testing and things, but in general, it's by the gut. If something doesn't sound right, if something doesn't feel right as a device, don't do it. You know, you are also, you can't just be going down on your knees and listening to everything that is said. You can negotiate, you can fight, you can turn around, you can walk away. Know your place in this world, know your heart, know your spirit, know your own God, you know, and become one with it. There's a lot of, hold on, let's see what we got here. Oh, some people were, here's my little gree over here. So to all the people that are out there, there's lots of ways that we could call spirits, lots of ways that people need sometimes to clear spirits. So I'm just going to burn a little sweet grass here as a gift and offering for the spirits of my house. Since they are here and they were making a little noise earlier. And give you something to feed upon, some sweet grass for you. Just a little aroma in the air. To let them know we care, to thank them. I have a candle burning. I have Henriette out of place. The snake just won't crawl out of her cage, but if I didn't want the top open, he'd get out, right? Anyway, so we were talking about Voodoo Paranormal. We were talking about New Orleans. We're talking about different people's views about spirits and what they've experienced in New Orleans on their own and with me, or just in their own lives. For I believe that we're all psychic and that we just have to use it. And the more we use it, the better we'll get at it. We have to write down our mistakes as well as our triumphs and not let them get us down. We have to persevere. It's not Hollywood. It's not presto instant and everything's going to come to you. It takes work. You're not going to call me and say, well, you know, take all my troubles away. I'll give you some money. No. I will teach you how to work in your own life, but I don't want to do things for you per se. But that's all part of teaching. And I believe that we should, you know, try to connect with the spirits, honor our ancestors. Remember, they built our bloodline, our family, and the people that built your house before you were there, you know, honor them too. They built the land. They built it up. They kept it. So that's why I'm the advocate for spirit rights. I'm going to have to make a little section on my website so people can join up to be part of the spirits advocate for spirit rights. They were here before us. They did a lot to help you be where you are, whether it's your own family or the people that built the land you are or the city that you are. Always honor them. Always salute them. I try to go to the oldest cemetery I can whenever I visit a town new, bring a gift, bring something from here, as well as maybe flowers or liquor, something like that. But to connect and to thank them for letting me visit their town and to ask to be protected, you know, while I'm there and to be led to the things that I should be led for. 2, 4, 6, 8. So you would always should honor the ancestors that have come before. My website, by the way, is bloodymarystours.com. I have a new blog that I started there. Please comment on that. I've had a lot of trouble and a little bit of sabotage going on with my new website. It is fabulous. It is huge, but I've had a lot of problems. And it's just more or less been out a little bit. I'm starting this vlog and a web series, but I'm actually getting sections of it updated and edited a little fancier. So I'm trying to get more subscribers to my YouTube channel so I can put that out. So please tell your friends to subscribe to Bloody Mary New Orleans. So it's the Bloody Mary Show, Enter the Spirit Realm. I'm going to put my trailer out in a few days. And I'm going to put the first full episode. These are half-hour episodes with 3 different sections. It's a section of an interview with another magic person, author, or expert in their field. There's a in the field walking with the spirits kind of section all through New Orleans and even some travels. And then there's a kitchen witching section, which is how to make things and cook things. And that's kind of a fun section. And some bloopers and some swamp magic moments. So it's full half-hour segments. I have 4 that I made that I'm just tweaking and making them a little more perfect. And I'll try to put them out once every 2 or 3 weeks with a video chat about the show in between. So to buy a little time, I tried the video chat first now, also because I've never done this before, and it was a lot easier than I was expecting. I thought I'd have a lot of technical difficulties, knock on wood. So I got this up and coming. Sometimes I'll have guests. Maybe the spirits will come up and show themselves more. But pretty soon I'm going to have people coming into the house to do a ghost hunt right now in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to see if there was anything else written up here before I go. Kitchen. I'm looking forward to that. Yes, I know you, Chandra, she's a great cook, so she might have to send in some ritual food for us. Beautiful food she does. Now I have kitchen witch stuff, like little things that we can burn as incense, some things we can make as gree-gree, sometimes entire meals, a variety of different things that we're going to do on that section. And I'll show you maybe sometime how to make dolls or gree-grees. We'll do different things. And we'll definitely talk about spirits. Always ask the spirits permission when you enter a sacred site. If you're going to take a picture, if you're going to go to a graveyard, a sacred site, a church, ask permission. Let them know that you come with heart and with respect. Give them a gift. And if you take anything from an area, whether herb or not, give something in its place. So remember to always give respect to the ancestors and the spirits, and they will always give respect to you. I thank you for joining me on our Voodoo Paranormal chat. I remind you again I'm Bloody Mary Nola on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm Bloody Mary New Orleans on my Facebook fans page, as well as on Bloody Mary New Orleans for YouTube. Please join all of those. I got a new book. I got a new blog, a new vlog, a new website. I got a new life and a birthday coming up next week. I'm not telling you how old I am because I don't want to know. On that note, we close the gates. We thank the spirits for letting us have a glimpse into their life. We hope that they will keep us safe through their strength and help us to return again. In the Father, Son, the Holy Ghost, the Marasa, the mysteries, and L'Amour. We close the gates, and this is signing off. Bloody Mary, New Orleans. I hope to see you again. I'm going to push this button that says stop broadcast now.